I want to connect a few stories that on the surface look completely unrelated, but they're actually not. They're all telling you the same thing about how power is working in America right now.
Glenn Beck connected the dots in his video last week. Now I'm translating those connections into dollars because every one of those 6 failures has a price tag and you're paying it. I mean, your gas jumped 48 cents in a week. Your Medicare trust fund is on track to run dry by 2033. 250,000 dead names are still on the voter rolls, and that's only from the states that bothered to look. And before you say, well, that's politics. No, that's your grocery bill. That's your retirement. That's the deed to your house. This stopped being abstract a long time ago. The Medicare Trustees released their next report this year. When that number goes public, insurance costs adjust, home equity lending standards tighten, and the window to position closes. You want to be on the right side of that number before it's official. American homeowners are on high alert, and they should be, because what Beck covered isn't 6 separate stories. No, collectively, it's a system-wide failure, and it just landed on your front doorstep. Beck showed you how power is working in America right now. I'm going to show you what it's costing you and the 3 moves you can make this week to build a wall around what's yours. Let's go through them one by one. Failure number 1, Medicare hospice fraud. The head of CMS, that's Medicare, Dr. Oz himself, says fraud in LA County alone runs into the billions.
We want to get you now to the fight against fraud. The White House says mobsters are running schemes on hospice care, and the worst cases, they are in Los Angeles.
Hospice fraud in L.A.
Hospice is crazy here. You've got hospice that's grown 7-fold in the last 5 years. They represent about $3.5 billion of fraud, we believe, just in L.A. County.
And here's what that looks like on the ground. Hospice companies multiplied by 1,500% since 2010. One building, one single address on Van Nuys Boulevard had 89 registered hospice providers operating inside it. 0 patients, not one. 89 companies billing Medicare for people they never treated. I want you to picture this building. It's not a hospital. It's not a clinic. It's a mailbox with an invoice printer, and it builds your Medicare for all of it. Every year, Medicare's board puts out a report card on the fund's health. And here's the truth they won't say out loud. There is no trust, and there is no fund. Medicare Part A, that's the part that pays your hospital bills when you're over 65, the part you've been paying into your whole working life. That fund is projected to hit 0 by 2033. When it does, your hospital coverage gets cut 11 cents on every dollar, and it climbs from there. Here's the math nobody talks about. For every 1 person collecting Medicare today, there are only about 3 workers paying into it. It used to be closer to 5 people. That number is now headed toward 2.5 by the end of the decade. And it only goes one direction from there, and that's down. The fund is getting looted from the outside by fraud and crushed from the inside because there aren't enough workers paying in to cover everyone collecting. And nobody in Washington can touch it. They can't do anything about it, and you'll see why in a minute. Failure number 2. Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. Gas jumped 48 cents in 1 week. That's the biggest single-day jump at the pump since Hurricane Katrina. The national average hit $3.54. That's up 21% in a single month. Oxford Economics, a research firm that advises central banks, modeled $140 a barrel as a severe disruption scenario that could tip the global economy toward recession. Goldman Sachs already bumped U.S. recession odds up 5 percentage points. Some people on television called that a mild recession scenario. There's no such thing as a mild recession. It's like saying you have mild gangrene. You don't. You have gangrene. And if you said that out loud to a news anchor right now, they'd tell you things are stabilizing. And oil isn't just your gas tank either. It runs through everything: fertilizer, food, shipping, utilities. If oil crosses that line, mortgage rates spike right alongside inflation. The homeowner who's already stuck can't afford to move and can't afford to stay, squeezed from both ends at the same time. Your fixed expenses go up, your portfolio goes down, your home equity gets harder to access, all 3 simultaneously because of a narrow stretch of water most Americans can't find on a map. 1 strait, 1 choke point, and it has more control over your retirement than anything your financial advisor is going to tell you in your next quarterly meeting. Failure 3, dead voters. 260,000 dead people to be exact, confirmed by Department of Justice Civil Rights Chief Harmeet Dillon. on the voter rolls. That's from just 30 states that voluntarily cooperated. And right now, the rest are being sued to open their records. Can you believe it? Half the country hired lawyers with your tax dollars to make sure that you couldn't see what they're doing. That's not what innocent looks like. And then there's the SAVE Act. You see, there's a bill that would require proof of citizenship to register to vote. Can you imagine that? It's an 80-20 issue. Both parties won it. Doesn't matter. Dead on arrival. And why? Because of something called a cloture vote. That's next, by the way. And when you see how it works, you'll understand why nothing in Washington ever gets fixed. So the law that would clean and preserve voting integrity can't pass. And the procedure that kills it can't be reformed because the people who benefit from this dirty play, they won't allow it. That's not dysfunction. That's architecture. Your household cost, you registered, you showed up, you did it right, and the people who didn't follow the rules are canceling you out, one dead name at a time. Failure 4, this is the biggie. This kind of controls everything right now, the zombie filibuster. One senator, one phone call, from a golf course for all we know. That's all it takes to kill a bill that 59 other senators already support. No debate, no speech, nobody even has to show up. They call it this cloture vote thing. That's the rule that says you need 60 senators just to start debating a bill. A filibuster by its most common name. Here's how it works. One guy calls in, says no, and boom, the bill dies. Nobody has to even go on the record. That's it. Closure. Sounds like something you'd ask your dentist about. Is it serious, doc? No, just a closure. We'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, your retirement just flatlined on the Senate floor. They've used this trick over 2,500 times, and more than half of those happened in just the last 12 years. It's not protecting debate anymore. It's accelerating paralysis, and they're letting it happen. This is why your prescription drug prices never go down, even when both sides promise they will. Most of the big fixes get stuck in that same black hole. Social Security running out of money? Dead. Medicare funding? Dead. Inflation relief? Dead. Enough that paralysis is the default now, not the exception. The mechanism designed to protect debate, it's now the kill switch that guarantees nothing gets fixed. One phone call, no courage required, no accountability attached. That's the system your retirement is depending on. That's why Medicare is headed to zero by 2033, and nobody's doing a thing about it. That's why the SAVE Act is dead on arrival. That's why the dead voters stay on the voter rolls. Now, failure 5, FBI surveillance. Between 2018 and 2024, at least 1,200 Americans were secretly investigated under something the FBI calls assessments. That's FBI speak for we're watching you, but we're not calling it an investigation. So because of that, you have no legal protections, no right to know, and no way to defend yourself. I mean, we're talking about journalists, lawyers, members of Congress, religious leaders, people with constitutional protections, files marked, prohibited access, hidden from most FBI agents themselves even. Tools built to catch foreign spies pointed at American citizens for years. Now, the privacy angle, that's real, but that's just the appetizer. Here's the part that nobody connects. This is the main course. You see, the dollar only works if people trust the system behind it, because it's not backed by gold anymore. It's backed by trust. And when the guys with badges break the rules, the promises they back start to crack. And when that trust cracks, smart money doesn't sit in a savings account earning barely 4%. It moves to hard assets, to gold, to real estate, to collectibles, anything that holds its value without a politician's permission. That's not theory. No, that's what happened in every country where people stopped trusting the people in charge. When the institution with the badge can't be trusted, the currency it backs can't be either. But the retired couple doesn't feel the filibuster. They feel the pharmacy bill, the insurance notice, and the tax assessment. Think of it like a deadbolt with 6 tumblers. You can't pick one at a time. They all have to move together. And every person in Washington has a reason to make sure at least one of those tumblers doesn't move. That's the deadbolt. And the trustee report is the clock ticking in the background. In a minute, I'm going to give you the 3-move play. But first, there's one more failure, and it explains why you're hearing about all of this from a real estate guy on YouTube instead of from your evening news. And that's failure 6, the media blackout. The one that ties it all together. The failure is that none of this major evening news as one connected story, not with the financial thread. I mean, you got weather, you got a celebrity feud, you got three anchors recycling the same arguments they've been having since 2016. You did not get a single broadcast that said 6 systems are failing simultaneously. They're compounding each other. And here's what it means for the documents sitting in your kitchen drawer. I mean, that's why you're here, and for what there is to do about it. Here, let me run these back really fast. Medicare hospice fraud, billions stolen from Medicare, 89 fake companies in one building. Trust fund hits 0 by 2033. Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, gas up 48 cents in 7 days. Oil over $100 a barrel right now. Dead voters, 260,000 dead people registered in half the states. The zombie filibuster. One phone call kills a bill backed by 59 senators. And then FBI surveillance. 1,200 Americans secretly surveilled. Journalists, lawyers, members of Congress. And the media blackout. The news gave you another round of Epstein emails, 3 hours explaining why deporting criminals is controversial, and a panel arguing about the same thing they argued about yesterday. That's not 6 separate failures. That's one system protecting itself from reform. And every month it doesn't get fixed, it costs you money. So what happens when the entire system fails? Well, you stop waiting for someone to fix it, and you build your own system. Here's the 3-move play. Move number 1. Pull your Medicare summary notice this week. That's the form Medicare sends after every claim. Look for services that you never received. If something looks wrong, call 1-800-MEDICARE and report it. Then pull your property tax assessment and compare it to actual closed sales in your neighborhood. Not Zillow estimates. I mean, that's a go-to, but that's not real. You want to look at the real sales. And if your assessed value is inflated, you may have grounds to appeal. Every dollar you save on that bill stays in your war chest. And get some local guidance for your situation. You know, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I'm just a guy on YouTube who can read and has some common sense left. But this is the homework. Do it this week. Move number 2, use inflation to your advantage. The conventional advice was, pay off all your debt and sit on cash. Well, here's what happened to people who followed that advice. Their cash bought less every year, even though they thought they were being careful. They thought they were being safe, but this loss, it's accelerating. Here's what happened to people who borrowed at a fixed rate and bought income property. The asset appreciated, the rents went up, while the debt payment stayed fixed. And most will hear that and think that that's real estate advice. And they would be wrong. It's inflation arbitrage advice. Real estate just happens to be the most favored vehicle in our economy because those people, they won 3 ways. The value went up, the rents went up, and the payments did not, all while the dollar lost ground. Not to mention the tax advantages real estate gives you. Listen, I've been doing real estate for almost 20 years, and the single most consistent pattern I've seen, people who held fixed rate debt against real assets during inflationary periods came out ahead, consistently, across decades. I mean, ask anyone in real estate for more than 20 years, and they'll all tell you the exact same thing. They'll tell you they wish they had bought more and sold less. And if you want help finding the right property with a team that actually understands this play, epicrealestate.com. Now, move number 3, get your equity off the public record. I mean, right now, anyone with an internet connection can look up your name, find your property, and see exactly what it's worth. A properly structured trust takes your name off that record. It doesn't make you invisible, it just makes you a harder target to find. Think of it like taking your house key off the hook by the front door and putting it in your pocket. And right now, being a harder target is the smartest form of active defense available. And when the dollar itself is the thing losing value, and we just walked through 6 reasons why that's happening, gold is the oldest alternative to human nonsense. Not because it's exciting, because it doesn't need a senator, a filibuster, or a hospice company to hold its value. So, here's the choice. You can take these 3 moves before the next report drops. Check your documents, position into real assets, get your equity off the radar, and start building a fortress around your household this week. Or you can watch the number go public and react after the window closes. One of those is active defense. The other is drift. But doing nothing, that's the one move that guarantees you lose. You know, you've been around long enough to know what a slow bleed looks like, so no need to explain it. And now you've got the fortress. Your equity's protected. Your assets are positioned. But here's what nobody tells you about playing defense. The contractors, the HOA boards, the insurance companies that deny your claim, that your next door neighbor just gets mad at you. They don't stop coming just because you got smarter. No, they stop coming when they find out you've got a lawyer who answers the phone on your behalf, and for less than the price of a Chick-fil-A lunch for two. And that's exactly why I pulled this video out here for you to watch next. It's the piece that completes the system, because a fortress without enforcement is just a nice house with no locks. This one shows you how to walk through life with a Rottweiler on a leash right there by your side. So I'll see you there. And if not, I'll see you next time. God loves you, and so do I. Take care.